We are on still on a spiritual discussion of the human nature, good deed, bad deed, and wisdom, good fortune, bad fortune, total causal outcome, positive, negative spiritual energy, merit, wisdom. Let's welcome back, Morgan. We're still on
Hello.
the discussion, final part of the spiritual religious discussion on human construct before we get to more of the scientific look.
Yeah.
We are, like before, we're trying to discover what is the good inner seed within us that we want to be able to plant so that that seed will grow and then bear good fruit in terms of positive outcome in our life. Right? Good inner seed will give us positive, good things. In the we were talking about a concept called total causality, total cause and effect. Okay. In other words, the outcome of life that we have today, in terms of our physical health, our relationship, our finances, is a total causal outcome. It is a fruit that we get to reap as a result of whatever seed that we have been planting in this lifetime and in the past lifetime. The Hindu and the Buddhist has a word, karma, that literally says total causality. The Christian has the idea of the seed. Christian has the idea of original sin. With Christianity, the idea is that Adam and Eve committed sin. And we, as their children, get to inherit their sin. There's a similar idea. There is something that gets passed on from generation to generation to generation, and we inherit that sin. Original sin. From the look of total causality, we are our ancestor. Right? We, in our past life, performed some evil deeds, and now we get to experience the outcome of those evil deeds in the form of pain and suffering. Of course, we also perform some good deed for other people, and now we get to enjoy the good fortune in terms of our health, our finances, our relationship, etc. So this ties the three religions together, right? The idea, or at least from the total causality, that's a word that I'm using, just a common sense language word. Karma is a Hindu and Buddhist idea that we have accumulated our good fortune or bad fortune as a result of all the deed that we have done in the past life. And then the Christianity knew that there is something called the original sin. Okay, that's the only way to explain it. Why else would we be born and then we are sin already? We haven't done anything. It is the sins of our parents, and not just our parent, but ourselves, being our own ancestors. Right? We have lived in a past lifetime. We are our own ancestors. And then the pain and suffering in this world, that is the outcome that we get to experience. And there's hope in that, actually. because the Catholic has a wonderful, wonderful idea called purgatory. Ever heard of the word purgatory? Purgatory is the place that we go after we die. It is not heaven. Okay, there's no bliss, there's no peace there. It is not hell either. It is not ultimate damnation, eternal pain and punishment. It is somewhere in between for people who have not reached a state of completeness in their holiness, for people who still have sin, for people who need to pay for their sin and cultivate themselves to be worthy of heaven. We go to purgatory. We get to pay for our sin, and we get a chance to, purge our sin and then cultivate ourselves to become sinless, to become more worthy of heaven, so that we ultimately can go to heaven. It is a place of suffering, but not ultimate eternal damnation of suffering. And it is an opportunity for a better life at the end of the tunnel. Well, guess what? Do we all suffer pain, and do we all suffer? Yeah, we have suffering in this life. And are we given opportunity every single moment of every day to cultivate ourselves so that we can become more worthy of what's after? So, purgatory is life. This life and many past lives. And it's wonderful because nowhere else in the universe or no other, time will we get to experience, to pay for our sin than now. And there is no other greater time to cultivate ourselves to become worthy of heaven or worthy of nirvana. Thanks to the understanding on the law of causality or karma, we have been doing it again and again and again. But that's kind of a pain after a while. To repeat lifetime after lifetime. Who knows how many lifetimes we've been gone through. We pay for a sin, but during the process of paying for a sin with pain and suffering, we also create more sin. And so we keep accumulating bad fortune. In this life, we may commit some good deed. We help other people. We deposit some positive seed into account. And so the next life, we get to enjoy that positivity, but we burn that fortune every time we use it or we do something that is negative. And so next life, it could be worse than this one. And it could be bad. It could be worse, and it could be bad. And so we're stuck in this cycle of good fortune and bad fortune. We're stuck in the cycle of suffering. And how do we get out of it? Right? Well, if you're Catholic, you say you go through the ritual of baptism and you give yourself up to Jesus. But even then, you have to be totally and completely giving yourself over to Jesus and totally giving and cleanse yourself in the spirit. But how do you actually do it? And how does it actually work? Okay? How does it actually work? There is a concept that I want to call your attention to that can liberate us. Okay, we can liberate ourselves, free ourselves from suffering, and eventually get to that space of heaven or eternal bliss. It is called no double jeopardy in causality. No double jeopardy in causality. The total causality or the total causal outcome that we experience today total causal outcome. Okay, total causal outcome is the final fruit that we get to reap at this moment in time. Our life condition, our health situation, our marriage or our family relationship, our financial status, all of that is our total causal outcome, the final fruit. The beauty of this is that once we eat the fruit, it's gone. It's done. Once we eat the fruit of our causality, that fruit is gone. It's no longer there. In the legal system, when a person is accused of a crime that they have committed, they will get sentenced, they will get punished for it, they pay for their crime, and then by law, you cannot accuse of that person of the same crime. Therefore, you cannot punish a person twice for the same crime. No double jeopardy. Double jeopardy is a legal term in the human world, in the worldly perspective. Double jeopardy. Okay, double jeopardy. It's a no double jeopardy in the legal system. We cannot accuse a person more than one for their crime. If they've been acquitted, you cannot accuse them again. If they've been sentenced and they've already paid for the crime or jail time or whatever, you cannot accuse a person more than one for that same crime. If they commit another crime, then they would get arrested and be tried for a different crime. Same thing with causality. Whatever fruit that we reap today, if we welcomely receive it, we eat the fruit and it's done. Causality ends right there with respect to that seed. Now, we've been planting many seeds. We've been planting a lot of good seed, a lot of bad seed. And so we keep on reaping a bunch of fruit. We keep on reaping a bunch of fruit and we keep on having to eat it. But here's the thing, if we don't take the fruit, we don't eat it, it's gonna continue to sprout. Just like avoiding getting arrested when we commit a crime, right? Let's say we commit a crime, it's a small misdemeanor. We run the red light. Okay, we're driving traffic and we run the red light, we break the law. And the police chases us, and if we stop, we accept it, we welcomely receive it, then we pay for that little misdemeanor. We pay for a fine, right? We welcomely receive it. That crime is done. We experience emptiness and serenity. We can be at peace. But if we run the red light and the police try to chase us and we refuse to stop, we keep running. We keep speeding. And in the process of trying to escape from the law, we run more red light. We may hit people. We may run into other cars. We create more chaos out of just a little infraction. And so our crime builds up and build up and build up and build up. And eventually the police will catch up to us. And instead of paying a small fine for failing to stop at the red light, we pay the fine for failing to stop the red light. We pay the fine for evading police. We get jailed for hitting people, and it piles up and piles up. only because we refuse to welcomely receive the total causality or the total causal outcome. You see that? But there is a way to, that right there is a path to liberation. We simply receive all the fruit that we get. Okay, we just welcomely receive it. Don't charge it with any positive or negative emotion or mind, because when you do that, it is essentially equal to adding on more more infraction. There's a story in the Bible. At the moment before Jesus died, okay, Jesus died a terrible death. He was hanged on a cross, crucified on a cross. And before he died, there were two other criminals that were crucified along with Jesus. One criminal refused to accept his punishment. He challenged Jesus. He said, if you're God, get off of the cross and save yourself and save us too. He refused to accept the punishment, challenging the law. The guy on the right, we said, whoa, wait, stop. We deserve this. You and I, we deserve it. And so he turned over Jesus. Yeah, I deserve it. Please take me with you to heaven. And at that moment where he recognized that he deserved it, that he fully take responsibility for his total causal outcome, Jesus said, today you will be with me in heaven. See, for that criminal on the right side, his total causal outcome, as a result of all the seed that has been planted in this lifetime and that and past lifetime, accumulated and coagulated into the fruit that is death on a cross next to Jesus. Pretty painful. And his life, and who knows however many lifetimes that he's gone through, have been his purgatory. But in that last moment, he paid for all his crime. He has welcomely received his punishment. And he is open for salvation. And that's why Jesus said, today you'll be with me in heaven. And that is how we will go to heaven. If and only if we take full responsibility for the outcome that we have in life. If and only if we recognize that the root cause of life begins with me. And I don't need to blame anybody for it. I don't need to blame myself either. I just welcomely receive it, and I eat it, and the fruit is gone. If there's still other fruit, then that means there's still other seed have been planted and we have not fully eaten it yet. And so what does our true self teach us? It teaches us to receive everything as it is. Don't try to avoid it. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to run away from the law. Welcomely receive it. And when we welcomely receive it, we experience true peace. And that is how we can escape. Well, the way that we escape from that cycle of pain and suffering is to accumulate credit in our wisdom merit account. Okay, when we accumulate credit in our wisdom merit account, then it becomes more simple for us to initiate and initiate our true hearing and true seeing. And thereby, whenever something happens to us, all we got to do is just welcomely receive it. And as we keep on welcomely receiving it, we're eating the fruit. We're eating the fruit. We're eating all the bad fruit. And when we have eaten all the bad fruit, there's nothing left. That's when we go up. But if we don't have wisdom and we keep on avoiding the bad fruit, we can accumulate the positive and negative ethical fortune by helping other people. That's fine. Our life will get better. We can get better on a materialistic level. When we have better fortune, we accumulate a better life. Life is good. That's good, but it repeats itself. And we never know when we're going to burn those fortune until we raise our wisdom merit, our wisdom energy. It is only through wisdom energy that we can recognize that truth, that we fully take responsibility for all the all the sins, so to speak. Okay, taking full responsibility isn't blaming yourself. It's just, okay, I've done all of that thing and I receive it. The criminal on the right hand side of Jesus fully and completely accept the consequence of his action, and he eats the last fruit that he has to eat, which is death on the cross, and then thereby the next step is to go up to heaven. For most of us, we avoid pain and suffering. We try to fix the fruit. We try to fix the fruit, but if we don't completely accept it, then the tree is going to continue to bear fruit. And later on, we'll talk about what it's going to cause us to continue to keep on cultivating the bad tree. Okay, we don't want to keep cultivating the bad tree. We just stop cultivating the bad seed. You want to cultivate good seed. You want to cultivate wisdom seed, so that ultimately we will be more readily able to recognize and experience that true self within us and experience true liberation, heaven, nirvana. You guys get that part? No double jeopardy in causality. Okay, but if we keep running away from the law, if we keep avoiding our pain and suffering, and we don't receive it welcomely, then the pain and suffering will keep on coming up, and it will keep on accumulating and piling up, and we will get to reap even worse seed. So two things that we only need to do in this life, only two things. One, accumulate positive fortune by helping other people. That makes it easier to to live life. And number two, accumulate wisdom merit so that we can go up after this life. Yeah. Because if we have too many negative bad seed, it's gonna, sometimes it's hard to this pain and suffering sometimes will get in the way of us achieving wisdom. But those two things they can be independent. They can be related, but they can also be independent. Some people can experience terrible fortune, but they have a good amount of wisdom merit. So the moment they get it, they become enlightened. They are no longer subjected to causality because causality ends. And when you are no longer subjected to causality, you go to heaven without having to come back into purgatory. Okay. And so this map is a powerful one. Okay. Whenever we experience any kind of message is the fruit. Whatever people say to us, whatever we see, whatever life throws at us, a message is that punishment that fits whatever crime that we have committed. We just welcomely receive it without charging it with any positive or negative emotion. And over time, when all the bad seed have been received and there's nothing left but good seed, and we work on our wisdom merit by helping other people expand their awareness, elevate their wisdom, and then we will go to heaven. The let's draw a real quick diagram, just kind of a sneak peek. With serenity and inner peace and all that stuff, we begin this whole discussion with the idea of the truth within. What's the truth within? The simple fact that I already always hear, I already always see, I already always know, and I already always saying and speaking things. It begins with that. That is the foundation of the human construct. We have this truth within us. That truth gives rise to a state of emptiness of being. Okay? Remember the wrath. If we cannot experience true emptiness just yet, we can borrow the wrath of true hearing, a wrath of true seeing. We just notice that we're hearing and seeing. I have had the fortune, this is the third time that I am doing the weekly sharing, the season 3. It is the third time that I'm doing this 24-hour sharing, and I have noticed a little expansion in my own awareness with respect to knowing that I speak. I notice that I have been, how do you say, introducing concept that we will discuss later earlier. I noticed that I've been kind of tying in stuff that is going to be useful for discussion later, but I do it sooner, so that later when you get to it, you will feel that it is more familiar. I'm noticing my own speaking. It is an awareness, it is a shift, an expansion in awareness. It's kind of pleasurable. Okay, it is a wisdom thing. So I notice my own expanded awareness. Okay, and I'm grateful for that. And to other people, the masters who have shared the knowledge with me, and I'm grateful to you for giving me the chance to practice so that I can experience that. Okay. And then from the true emptiness, the fruit, okay, if the cause or the seed is the truth within, it's a concept that we are already always hearing and seeing. The source, if the source concept is the truth within, then that gives rise to the state of being empty. And the fruit of that is serenity. Okay, this is just a preview of what's coming up next or later in the day. It is a restating, a redrawing of this graph. That's all. Okay. From knowing that we have truth hearing and truth seeing, noticing, allowing that to be, we can give rise to the state of emptiness of being by paying attention to the hearing and seeing, and then ultimately we will reach the shore of serenity. And when we truly, fully reach the shore of serenity, that is when causality stops. No more purgatory, no more pain and suffering. And so the other way to do that, another triangle I want to share, the other part, if we have, while we are going through life and working on our wisdom merit so that we can ultimately go up, okay, escape from the cycle of suffering and purgatory and go to heaven. While we're working on that, we're also working on the other spiritual energy, okay? The other spiritual energy help us experience a life that is positive. The 7th great gift. Okay, from it, From its fundamental level, when we give to somebody, it's just simply giving. Okay, just giving something that is on a fundamental level, it gives rise to the idea of charity, which means charity comes from the Greek word or Latin word caritas, which means to care, which is loving kindness. Okay, loving kindness. Okay, loving kindness is an energy. The Christian religion is all about loving kindness, all about giving. When a rich man asked Jesus, "How do I go to heaven?" Jesus said, "Give it all away." Giving, 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 loving kindness, charity. What you begin as simply giving, energized with loving kindness, what we manifest in terms of the fruit is value creation. Okay, think of giving not as just a simple act of giving something, but through the act of giving, imbued with the spirit of loving kindness, create an engine of value creation. Help other people give as well. Mother Teresa begins by going to India and just helping poor and sick people and dying people. She just take them from the street, she takes them home and she take care of them. Just a simple act of giving. But imbued with the spirit of kindness, over time, she caused other people to open up house of charity, thousands and thousands of house of charity all over the world. She created an engine of value creation. And people call her a saint even before she passed away. Okay. So you begin with the 7 givings, okay? 7 gifts. But you can start thinking in terms of GIFT, of creating an engine of value creation, especially those of you who have the means to start a business. And even if you cannot start a business, if you think along that line, set the intention. Mother Teresa didn't think about being the head of thousands of charitable organizations. No, she just want to help the people that she see on the street. But beginning with the act of giving, imbued with the energy of loving kindness, you can empower other people as well. Okay. Any comment about that whole spiritual discussion and religious discussion on the human nature and the true nature, about sins and original sins, about karma and causality? Any impression? Anything new to you?
I just remember a story from what I've been hearing you say about about a month ago I got a speeding ticket. I was following
Okay.
traffic and I was just going with the traffic and out of the lineup of traffic I was the one that was chosen.
Yeah.
But when he pulled me over, he told me I was speeding and I couldn't answer him because I didn't even really know what I was doing for speed, but I was just going with the flow of the traffic. And I could have said, well, I was just following traffic, but I accepted the ticket as it
Yeah.
was because I couldn't argue anything.
Hmm.
And I just accepted it and acknowledged it
Hmm.
and received it. No argument. I could have said a bunch of things, but I just decided not to. I just accept because I had no idea what I did, what
Yeah.
speed I was doing, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just kind of one of the stories you were telling kind of related that to me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I think in my early days when I was younger, I broke a lot of traffic traffic regulation. Okay, um, but I was fortunate to be given the wisdom by my cousin about how to respond to a police officer when I get pulled over. And there was some occasion I think I ran the stop sign, right? You run the stop sign, and I got pulled over, and at that moment I was fortunate enough to have the energy of serenity that I did not, try to avoid it. I did not try to explain my way out of that. The police stopped me. I remember it was like in the middle of the night or something. I blew right through the stop sign, and he pulled me over. I just remember I saying that, um, I said something along the line of, I'm ready for whatever punishment that you want to deal. And somehow, I guess he kind of sensed that serenity that he chose not to give me the ticket. He just gave me a warning. Okay, I think that at least two occasions that I was able to get out of a traffic fine simply by openly receiving. And the way we treat another person, I treated him not with animosity, right? People, when they get to see the police, they go negative, fear or resentment and blame, anger. Those negativity, guess what? Immediately bounce back and give them the negative outcome. The police will raise their fine and sometimes even arrest them. And people get into big trouble when they refuse to accept. But people who are fortunate enough to maintain an energy of positivity or at least serenity is even higher than positivity. They are able to somehow not have to bear the full brunt of the punishment. Yeah. Yeah, there's something interesting there, Okay, let's go to the next part. Okay, let's take a little bit of a scientific approach to things. Combination of scientific as well as some common sense morality. Today we are going to talk about a principle. It is called the operating principle of the conscious mind. Okay, there's an operating principle of the conscious mind and the operating principle of the subconscious mind. We'll start with the conscious mind first. Okay. We're going to talk about material object. We're talking about space. We're talking about time. Sounds like a quantum physics class. Okay. We'll be talking about, let's begin with a particle. Okay, we call it a particle. Okay, quote unquote seed. So everything in space, everything that has a material reality to it begins as some sort of particle. If a particle is not moving, you can see it pretty clearly. If the particle is moving slowly, you can still see it. All right, like my hand right here. My hand is made of a bunch of particles. Okay, our atom, the molecules, and then smaller pieces are the quarks and the particles. If the particle moves faster, it starts to get blurry. And if this hand were to move super, super fast, we can't even see it at all. So motion, if it can be slow. To simplify it, right? It could be fast. You still kind of see it. Or super fast. When it moves super fast, we can't see it. It is called a wave. Energy wave. Right? This is just physics. Okay? You guys heard of this before? Either in physics or on YouTube or anything like that? And anybody here familiar with the idea of particles and waves? Right. In the science of physics, everything is a particle and it's also a wave. But when it moves slowly, we see it as a particle. We see physical matter. But when things are moving really, really fast, it's a blur, and we can measure it in the form of a wave. Okay? And in fact, depending on how you measure, it will appear as a particle, or if it appear as an energy wave. When it is an energy wave, it is measured in what's called vibrational energy frequency. Frequency or hertz, Hz, cycle per second. How many times something oscillates per second? One cycle is 1 hertz. The computer, the CPUs, the processing unit in my computer will oscillate at 3 hertz. That is 3 trillion times per second. 3 gigahertz. Yeah, 3 trillion times per second. The processing unit in my computer. Most of us processing nowadays. 3 gigahertz per second. Can you even imagine that? Can the mind even wrap around 3 trillion, no, 3 billion, not trillion, billion times. Yeah, a megahertz is a million times, a gigahertz is a billion times. So this computer vibrates at 3 billion times per second. And it also moves very fast. Okay, it vibrates very fast, and it has a potential to move very fast. The electrons inside the computer, the light waves that we see, also move very fast. The speed of light moves at about 300,000 kilometers per second, or 300 million meters per second. So things can move very fast. Okay, that is a basic understanding of particle and wave. And particle, matter, and energy. Okay, particle and wave. Particle is a matter, material. Wave, something really fast. So let's use another illustration. So imagine that there's a ball. Okay. right outside of that ball is empty space. Okay, if I was to have a ball on the table, the ball is the object that we can perceive. Okay. Over here, there is an eye. Okay, the eye that is perceiving this ball. Right? So there's a ball, and outside of the ball is empty space, and there's an eye that observes the ball. Like before, when my hand is slow, we can perceive the hand. When my hand is really fast, it becomes blurry. If my hand or if an object is moving super, super fast, then we cannot perceive it at all. It turns out that it is not that when something is moving really fast, we can't see it. It doesn't mean that it ceased to exist. It exists, but we can't see it because our eye or our senses or our measuring apparatus is not of the same energetic vibrational energy frequency with it. So once again, in order for us to experience, in order for us to observe something, we have to be a matching vibrational energy frequency. Okay? Our eyes is a match for my hand at this speed. If my hand were to vibrate at a million times per second, then it is no longer a vibrational energy match. And therefore, we don't see it. Just like we cannot see Wi-Fi. We cannot see radio wave. We can only see light wave within a visual spectrum because it is a certain vibrational energy frequency match with the sensor receptor in our eyes. But things that are outside of our immediate sense doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Wi-Fi wave exists because we can use the computer to communicate to another computer. Radio wave exists. How do we come into contact with a radio wave? We use an instrument, the radio. We tune the radio to the frequency that matches with the frequency of the channel that we are trying to listen to. If we are a vibrational energy match for something, then it looks solid. It looks very material to us. If we are not a vibrational energy frequency match for something, then it is a blur. It seems like it doesn't exist. It just seems like it doesn't exist. So using the analogy of the radio wave, if we wanted to listen to, let's say, KOST, and it's a music station. It's pretty popular in the West Coast, especially in Southern California. The frequency of KOST, the radio station, is 103.5 kilohertz. If we want to hear the music from KOST, we have to tune the radio to the frequency of 103.5 kilohertz. And therefore, we can hear the music. We can experience the music or the news from KOST when we tune our radio wave to the exact frequency. If we're off by a little, we get static, right? If we're completely off, we get nothing. We get a different channel or we get nothing. It's the same thing with the physical or material object in space. If we are a vibrational match for it, then we can see it. We sense it. If we are off, then it seems to not exist at all, unless we have an instrument to match with it. And so the idea of something becoming material, anything that is material, or anything that has been materialized, is anything that is matching vibrational energy frequency with us. And in addition to our visual senses, we have other senses, right? We can hear sound, we can touch, we can feel, right? So these are the things that we can see, hear, right? Even things that we sense. There are other senses, right? And then the thing that we can come to know or aware of. So by this same argument, anything that we don't know of doesn't mean they don't exist. It's just we are not aware of it or we don't know of it. We are not a vibrational energy frequency match for it. Right? So for a person to experience happiness, using this idea, we say that that person is a vibrational energy frequency match for happiness. Happiness is a material reality for them. It is real for them. They can see it, they can hear it, they can sense it, they know it. For a person who cannot see happiness, who cannot hear happiness, who cannot sense or know happiness, does happiness not exist? No, happiness exists. They are just not a vibrational energy frequency match with happiness. Same thing can be said about health. A person who has good health is a person who is a vibrational energy frequency match for good health. For a person who does not have good health doesn't mean that good health does not exist. Good health exists. They're simply not a vibrational energy frequency match for good health in such a way that they can see it, hear it, sense it, or know it. Right? What about financial rich, holistic health, holistic wealth? If a person is vibrational energy frequency match for holistic wealth, then they will experience it. But if they are not a match, then it will become empty space for them. This is like empty space. Let me label this stuff. Okay. So this is observed material object. This is the observer. And this space is just empty space. Let's call it empty space. Okay. So in order for anything to be material object within our reality, there needs to be several components. One is that material object has to exist. Two, there has to be an observer. And three, an observer has to be an energy vibrational match with that material object. If if one of the three is missing, then what we get is empty space. Okay, we get nothing. And so Okay, so we come to an idea of
Frank, sorry to interrupt you. Repeat
yes,
it again, the three,
yeah. So in
three of
order for
them.
anything to exist,
Uh-huh.
we need uh, the object to exist. We need the observer to exist, and we need the matching vibrational energy. The observer and the observed object had to be a vibrational energy match for us to experience that as a material object. Okay, without it, it's just empty space. The object, the observer, the object being observed, the observer, and the vibrational energy frequency match.
Okay, give the very simple example, easy example.
I just did. Our hand, my hand. You can see my hand because my hand exists. You can see my hand because you exist. And you are a vibrational energy frequency match for my hand. If my hand was moving really, 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 really fast, you can't see it at all. The hand still exists. You as the observer still exists, but what's missing is the vibrational energy frequency match. You are not a match for the moving hand. So instead of using hand, we use things like Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi exists. We exist, but we are not a vibrational energy frequency match for Wi-Fi. Therefore, it is not a material reality for it. We can't see Wi-Fi because the vibrational energy frequency match is missing. However, we have instruments that are a vibrational energy frequency match for Wi-Fi. The computer is an energy match for Wi-Fi, so it can pick up the signal from Wi-Fi. Or another way is the reality is the radio.
Correct.
Right. We cannot see or actually hear or feel the actual radio wave, but if we can use a radio to tune to the frequency of the radio wave, then we can experience the reality of the content of the radio station. Okay?
Okay.
And it's important to get that fundamental concept because we apply that to things like happiness. Happiness exists. We, as the observer, exist. But if we are not a vibrational energy match for the energy of happiness, then it will become empty space for us. We will not experience it.
True.
All right? Yeah.
Thanks.
A person who experiences happiness is a person who is a vibrational energy frequency match for happiness. Same thing with health, same thing with family relationships, same thing with financial abundance. The people who are materially rich, in this definition, that means they are a vibrational energy frequency match for material rich. Okay, so once again, I will write that word again. Vibrational energy frequency match. Okay, it is a matching energy. In order to experience anything in life, we have to be an energy match for it. And what does it mean to be an energy match for it? Is to have it in our reality. And we can break that up into possessing it, like money, we possess money, we possess the material object. Okay. Or another way is to experience it. Right? Happiness is a human experience. you have happiness or you feel happiness. Okay, we have material abundance. We feel materially abundant. So to be a vibrational energy frequency match for anything means to either possess it or to experience it. But if we don't have it yet, if we don't possess it, if we don't experience it yet, then we can work on becoming or become. We can work on becoming happy. We can become materially abundant. We can become harmonious in our marriage, in our relationship with our children. To go from possessing or not possessing to possessing is through the process of becoming. When it comes to possessing or experiencing, we experience the material world, the physical world. We experience the cosmology, which is the spiritual and religious world. And we experience human life. Right? That is our experience. Our experience can be divided into three simple perspectives: the worldly view, the cosmological view, which is religion and spirituality, and then this human experience, which include everything from happiness to good health to financial abundance to harmonious relationship. Okay. There have been let's do another page. Experiments, scientific experiment that try to measure a human being's energy frequency. I don't have the detail of that, so you're welcome to research that. Okay, you can look up energy frequency and how that relates to their life experience. So a person's vibrational energy frequency, I'm running out of space, so I'm just going to shorten it. A person's energy vibration or vibrational energy frequency is, for simplicity's sake, we're just going to divide that up into different categories. Okay. There is the low energy, there is high energy, and there is the super high energy or super high vibrational energy frequency. There's been scientific research into measuring a person's vibrational energy frequency, and then they're different. They have different hertzes and frequency, but we're not going to go into the details of what that number is. What basically it says is that a person who is vibrating at a high energy frequency tend to experience life that is positive and desirable. High energy is associated with life that is positive and desirable. People who are vibrating at low vibrational energy frequency tend to experience life that is negative or undesirable. Okay, their life. their their both the experience of the spirituality, the experience of the physical world, and their human experiences, human life, okay, is related to the energy frequency. Okay. We experience life according to where we are in this low, high, or ultra high energy frequency range. If our energy frequency is high or super high, we tend to experience life better. If our vibrational energy is low, we tend to experience negativity or undesirable outcome in life. And it turns out that our vibrational energy frequency, both on a spiritual, physical, and emotional level, is dependent on our inner state. Okay? Our experience is the external stuff. Our inner state is the internal stuff. Our inner state will decide our vibrational energy frequency, which will correspond to the external circumstances that we experience. We can only experience things that are of a vibrational energy frequency match for our own inner state. Okay? We can only experience anything that is a vibrational energy frequency match for it. If we are at a different vibrational energy frequency match, then we don't experience it. If we are low, so the inner state is also low, high, or super high. And our inner state is, we already gone over this during the human construct, is simply divided into negative, positive, and balanced. Okay? Our inner state. If our inner state is negative, that correspond to low vibrational energy frequency, which correspond to an experience of the outer world as undesirable. If our inner state is positive, if we're happy, if we're joyful, if we're confident, if we are trusting, if we're humble, if we're benevolent, those are positive inner state. If the positive inner state is positive, then it corresponds to vibrational energy frequency of our being as high. We're going to experience life that is generally positive and desirable. If we are very, very balanced with our inner state, that will correspond to an energy frequency that is super, super high. We may not experience the kind of positive life that equates to material abundance, like being rich. We might not have a lot of fame, but what we get is clarity and wisdom that give us the ability to go up and liberate ourselves from this cycle of pain and suffering from purgatory. So I'm going to add that word up here when it comes to experience. Okay, this is going to be undesirable. Okay, this is desirable. And if we're balanced, It is liberation. Can't even read that. Let's try again. Liberation. Okay. Our life is neither poor nor rich, but we experience wisdom and we can go up. Okay. Go out, out of this cycle, not even up, out of this cycle. Okay. And these are the experience. I need to wake up this afternoon. Experience. Okay, we experience spirituality, physical world, human life. If our inner state is negative, our vibrational energy frequency is low, we experience undesirable experience. If our inner state is positive, our vibrational energy frequency is high, our experience of life is desirable. Experience of life. Okay, it's desirable. If our inner state is balanced, our vibrational energy frequency is super high. Our life is neither desirable or undesirable, but we get a chance to get out. Liberation, wisdom. Our inner state is dependent upon spiritual and wisdom merit. Okay, our inner state is depend our spirit and wisdom merit. In other words, if we have helped other people go positive, we're going to experience an inner state that is also positive. If we have helped another person achieve highly balanced, super high frequency, then we will experience highly balanced, super high frequency, and we can get closer to liberation. If we cause other people to go negative, make them feel bad, cause them pain and suffering, hurt them, we are going to have low vibrational energy frequency. Our life tend to attract undesirable circumstances. Spiritual wisdom and merit is the legal system in the spiritual world. Okay, this is the judge and the jury and the punisher. This is where the golden rule operates. Do unto others what you would have them done unto you. This is where causality takes place. Spiritual and wisdom merit. What we do to others, we are going to reap whatever seed that we plant in terms of our action to others. It's going to come back and take effect on us. All of that inner state and energy vibration, we can influence with inner awareness. Okay, when we expand our inner awareness, we can more readily and more simply operate this engine of spiritual and wisdom merit. When we have an awareness about the human construct, we can more readily navigate human nature. Before today, we did not know that human being, we have this true nature. We did not know that we have the already always hearing, the already always seeing. The truth within us is in here, our God nature, our Buddha nature, our true nature. And so we were lost in the sea of human nature, going up and down, all the waves of positive and negative energy, going through lifetimes and lifetime, purgatory after purgatory. But now that we have the awareness, the inner awareness, thanks to the map of the human construct, when we can choose to navigate. If we want our life to be better, we navigate in a positive direction. Or if we want to get out of the cycle of suffering, we can navigate toward the truth within us. Well, this looked very complicated. This map can be pretty complicated. There's a simple way that we can make sure that we go the right way and not get lost. Okay. Inner awareness. There are only 3 states of awareness that we need to worry about. Try to reach a state of serenity. When you got nothing better to do, just be at peace. Serenity. If we have to deal with people, reach a state of magnanimity. Be generous with them. Don't see their fault. Be generous with them. If we do encounter undesirable circumstances, honor the person, be grateful for the lesson. Even if we don't experience undesirable circumstances, be grateful for everyone and everything. Pretty simple. But it helps to understand, to have a map of our energy state, because it operates the human construct. Our body, our mind, everything is wrapped up in an energy field, electromagnetic energy, positive and negative. We get sick, we get healthy. Our mind goes positive, our mind goes negative. Our emotion goes positive, our emotion goes negative. Again, can get pretty tiring after a while. Lifetime after lifetime, purgatory after purgatory. And at some point, if you're sick and tired of all that and you want to get out, then you can work on the truth within us. Help other people elevate their level of wisdom to level 3. Okay, where they experience inner peace, they experience true clarity, the truth within themselves, and thereby we will also benefit the benefit of the wisdom merit. Because with this energy, serenity is closest to the balance energy. It is very high. Okay, very high in energy. Does not need to oscillate very, take time to go up and go all the way down. It can take a while to go up, take a while to come back down. Magnanimity and honoring gratitude are positive energy that help us experience a life of positivity in this life and the next life if you choose to come back. But in order to decide not to come back, to choose not to come back, we are going to need super high wisdom energy. Okay, so this this knowledge that we're working on is the operation on causality. Instead of trying to change the outcome that has already bore fruit, we're going to work on the inner seed, the inner awareness. Okay? From now on, and for the rest of this life and the future lives, we can work on taking ownership of our inner awareness, the inner seed within us. If we plant seed that is positive and balanced, we're going to reap the fruit that is positive and balanced. Okay? Inner awareness is the seed that determines everything else outside in our world. Question on that so far before I move on and talking a little bit more about inner awareness. Okay. Awareness and perception. It's water. Well, I pour water. Does anybody want to say something? What is new to you? What do you find impressive, applicable? Any question? That's a lot of information. I would be surprised if you guys didn't get anything new out of it. Say something. Morgan, I want to make sure I'm getting this across, because if you're silent, then that could mean I haven't done my job. Do I need to go back and repeat anything?
It's good. It's good, Frank. The inner state is to keep it positive and balanced. That's the ultimate place where we want to be.
Yeah.
And then from when the inner state, I just want to review for myself too. Inner state is a positive and in a balance. Balance, then we have a vibrational energy frequency high, up to super high. Then it's desirable and liberation. And so the experience will be good for the spirituality, physical world, and human life. Yeah, so that is very good. And the matching, especially the matching vibrational energy frequency is the see, hear, sense, and know. That's the awareness. Because what my understanding is that when we don't have the matching vibrational energy frequency, you don't see it, period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, because other people can see it and I don't see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why does somebody, have happiness and I don't? Okay. Why does some people are so healthy and I'm so sick? Why do people's marriages and their children are so harmonious and mine is a broken, dysfunctional family?
Yes. So yes, this is a way for all you have to do is just to be aware, change the energy, and ultimately this is you can achieve. It's not a big science way to solve or chemistry to solve. This is just once we get into this vibrational energy frequency and the inner state, when we are positive and harmonize ourselves, it's no going back.
Yeah.
Because it's just serve good and around others. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can still burn our fortune. Okay, we can still burn our fortune or tarnish our gold. So we still have to be clever and wise about how we do it.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Um,
we like to maintain and how to maintain.
yeah.
And it's okay to go back and get burned sometimes because we're still human. We're not awakened one
When
yet.
you already, yeah, you know, we're human when we do it. We've been in purgatory for tens of thousands of years, tens of thousands of lifetimes. If and when you're sick and tired of it, if and when you want to liberate, if and when we are ready for heaven, then we'll take that step and work on the spiritual aspect as opposed to the material aspect of our lives.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
No question from me.
Yeah.
Good conversation.
Okay. 7 gifts is one path in which we can raise our inner state, raise our energy vibration frequency.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of inner awareness, let's take a little closer look at inner awareness. Okay. Awareness and perception. Okay, awareness and perception. In this philosophy, to make things simple to understand, we divide it into not half, half, and half, uh, complete. Okay, or fullness. Okay, awareness and perception. Not half, half, and half complete. When it comes to our inner awareness, okay, with our inner awareness, inner state, when we are still negative about something, we say that we do not have any awareness and perception about it. When we actually have a balanced and positive state about it, we say that, oh, okay, you now have an awareness and perception about it. And when you have a complete and fullness of awareness and perception about something, we say that you have clear image and clear concept of it. Clear image, clear concept. When somebody talk about let's say running a marathon. Okay, somebody say, let's run a marathon, and we have a negative feeling about it. I am too weak to do it. I don't have enough strength. I don't have enough time. My body can't take it. I don't think I can survive the marathon. That's for athlete. I'm too old. I'm too young. When we have a negative inner state with respect to running a marathon, we say that you do not have an appropriate awareness and perception about it just yet. When we say, let's run a marathon, and you go, oh, okay, let's go run a marathon. Really excited. I can totally do it. but you may not know how to do it just yet, but you're excited about it. We say that, okay, you have some awareness and perception about it. And when we say, let's do a marathon, and you say, I know how to do it, I know when to do it, I know what is required to do it, and I'm going to do it, then we say that you have a full and complete awareness and perception about running a marathon. Okay? When you don't have awareness and perception about it, the human nature will dominate, usually the negative ones. When you start to have wisdom with respect to a concept, you start to go balanced and positive. We get clarity in our perception, right? Clarity. We become positive and balanced. We become hopeful. We become excited. Then you start to have awareness and perception about that concept. And when you know everything there is to know about a concept, and you have a clear vision of what that looks like, essentially, that's your reality. Remember the formula for the root cause of life? We said that clear image equals reality. For a person who knows exactly what it takes to run a marathon, knows when to do it, how they put the body into the kind of condition to do it, what are the fees that are associated with it, what are the people that they know. If they have a full and complete understanding about marathon, then it's a simple matter of having that as the reality. When we think about our children or our spouse, and we have some negative feelings about it, our human nature go negative. We have fear, we have anxiety, we have doubt about our children. Then we simply say, you haven't had a fullness of awareness and perception about your children just yet. Nothing good or bad about it, you just don't have a perception about it yet. You don't have an awareness about your relationship with your children just yet. If you go to work on elevating your inner awareness, okay, that list of human, temperance, pride, all that stuff. When you go to work on elevating our inner awareness, at some point, it's going to become positive and balanced. And you start to have what we call awareness and perception about your children or your relationship with your children. And when you reach a state where you have a clear image, you know exactly what that relationship with your children look like, and it's balanced and positive image. You have a perfectly clear concept of how to go about creating that relationship. You know how to affect your children and your relationship with your children. And we say you have fullness and complete awareness and perception about your relationship with your children. Okay, this awareness and perception idea will free us from having to blame ourselves and blaming other people. When you're trying to share this concept with another person, or the concept of total causality, and a person disagree and they even go negative about it, it is not right or wrong, it is not good or bad, it is simply the fact that they have not had a full awareness and perception about causality. And all you got to do is help them get clear. Give them the appropriate concept, give them what a clear image about causality, paint a picture of the benefit of understanding causality so that they can take ownership of their lives. And eventually, when they start to have an awareness of it, they have a fullness of perception of it, they're going to go balanced and positive. And when they have enough of a clear image and concept to teach to other people, then they will have a fullness and completeness of awareness and perception about things like causality or this philosophy. Okay? The only way to get to have a reality is to have a clear image and clear concept of it. So to have fullness and awareness of perception equates to having the reality of that aspect in your life. And it relates to our inner state. It relates to our vibrational energy frequency. When our energy frequency, if our inner state is positive and high, balanced and super high, then we have that as our reality. If we don't have it yet, then it's going to be negative, it's going to be low. And it's just a matter of making it positive and ultra balanced. Awareness and perception. That's why we do the sharing, and I will always begin to by generating the purpose of our sharing is to expand our awareness and perception so that we can start to take ownership of our own lives, take ownership of our inner being, our inner awareness, our energy vibrational state, take ownership of our health, of our relationship, to take ownership of our own wisdom and attitude and character, our own integrity, our physical vitality, our capability, right? That is called being holistically wealthy. And when you are holistically wealthy, it's impossible to be materially poor. Yeah, okay. Let's talk a little bit about time. Okay, awareness and perception about time. Just another saying about awareness and perception. When it comes to awareness and perception, okay, if it is full and complete, when we have a fullness and completeness of awareness and perception of something, what we get is a reality that is also full and abundant. Okay, when we have an awareness and perception that is full and complete about our health, then we are going to experience a reality that is full and abundant in health. When we have an awareness and perception that is full and complete with respect to our relationship, to our children, to our spouse, then we are going to experience a reality that is full and abundant in that aspect of a relationship with our children or our spouse. When a person comes to a fullness of awareness and completeness of perception about finance, business, investment, then guess what? They get to experience the reality of fullness and abundance in finance and business and investment. Just look at the rich people versus the people who have no awareness and perception about finance. Those people who have no awareness and perception of finance is going to live in reality of no money, poverty instead. Their energy is low, the vibrational state is negative, and thereby their reality of financial is undesirable. And how do you get full and complete? clear pictures, completeness, and favorable concepts. Right? Your inner state is balanced and positive. Okay, so to have awareness equates to, so another phrase is to have awareness equals to have reality. Okay. You can't have anything that you're not aware of. But if your awareness is still negative, then we can say you don't have that reality. Then yeah, it's negative because you don't have that reality. Okay. So we talk about space, we talk about material. Let's go over quickly some time. Do we need to do lunch? No, let's do time and then we'll yeah, let's do time and then we'll jump we'll do lunch and then we'll jump to a different topic. Okay. Let's see. Time. Our awareness and perception about time. Okay. Time. Historically, previously, traditionally, when we think about time, what comes to mind? When I say time, what immediately comes to mind? When you say time, what do you feel? What do you see? Is it not the past?
Is our precious life is going past.
Say again. That's a good one. Go ahead.
Is our precious life is going past.
Precious life is going past. Yeah, your time
Yeah,
is
this is-
ticking away.
Yeah,
Your
any brief.
lifetime is limited, and you're wasting it in this Zoom.
No, that's what I'm saying. This is a precious time.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Time
why
is
we have to
precious.
think about it, how we're gonna use this time.
Yeah. Time is precious, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, time is precious. And we're spending that time, right? How do we spend it in a way that is wisely, right? But historically, we also have this concept of past, present,
Future.
and future. Okay. In fact, we think of time, the past, as having been fixed, right? We can't change the past. Ever say that, we can't change the past. Okay. But with this understanding on time also has to do with vibration, energy frequency. Okay. So traditionally, we think of time as being fixed. Just think of a past for now. Okay, you can't really change it. I was born in a certain date and year. I can't change it. But not only things that happen, but when we think about the past, we also associate some mental energy. We associate some emotional and mental energy to the past when we think about it. So the past could be positive or negative when we think back. Something that somebody did in the past can be positive or negative. If we think if our vibrational energy frequency is low and we are, say, resentful and blaming, we may be resentful and blaming toward ourselves or other people in the past for giving us the outcome that we have today. And therefore, our energy state is negative, and therefore our outcome, our reality, experience of life is negative. But if we, now that we have learned how to, now that we have learned that our energy state and our reality is related to our inner state, then if we change our inner state to positive, when we think about the past, if we think about it in a positive sense, then what somebody did to us maybe years ago that we previously considered of it as negative, if now we switch that to positive, then we're going to begin to experience a present reality that is going to be more positive. And so the past is not fixed. The past is not fixed. The past is actually dependent on vibrational energy frequency. In fact, the past doesn't even exist. The past is nothing more than memory. But memory is a collection of brain mental signal that gives us a mental image that we experience right now in the present. Can we experience the past? Can we really experience the past? We actually cannot experience the past. We can only experience a mental image, a movies of what we think is the past. We associate it with a mental image, we associate it with emotional charge, and we call it the past because we assume that the past is a cause that will lead to the present today. But that past can change. We can change the past. We can actually change the past by simply changing the way we look at it, by monitoring what we hear and what we see about something that we associate to the past, by changing what we say and what we know about the past, then we are essentially change the past. If we are a kind of person who have, let's say, blame our parent for something they've done, or blame our friend, or blame somebody for what they've done in the past, and we change the way we look at them, the way we see, the way we hear, the way we know, and the way we say about that person. And instead of that, what an event that they did that was supposed to be painful, and we just shift it, and it's no longer an act of offense, it is now a lesson, then we have essentially changed the past. And we can only do that when our inner state change, our vibrational energy frequency change. Same thing with our present. When a message comes into our inner being, if we don't let the true self welcome it first, and we allow the mind and the emotion to jump in, we charge it with a positive or negative charge, then the present gets colored and skewed by positive and negativity. But if we allow the message to come into the present, and we take it and we welcomely receive it, it becomes very pure, very light. It can become positive. Even if we want to, we can initiate a positive energy charge, a mental energy that is positive. Then we essentially change the present. What about the future? Can we experience the future? Can anybody live in the future? No, we can only be in the now. We can only be in the present. The future is nothing more than a mental movie, a mental image about something that we have yet to experience. But we are playing that movie right now. And the content and the quality of that movie, our mental images, depends on our vibrational energy frequency. If the future looks bleak, that is because our vibrational energy frequency is low, our inner state is negative. If we maintain that negativity, eventually our present will look like that image that we see in the future being bleak and negative. But if we can start to take ownership of what we see, what we hear, what we say, and what we know, we change the image of the future, we're going to change. We're going to eventually experience that future as a new present, and that present will be positive or balanced according to our vibrational energy frequency. So whereas in the past has been fixed, past, present, and future has been fixed. Okay, it is no longer fixed. Okay. It is now, okay, not fixed. The past, the present, and the future is never fixed. It is all dependent on our vibrational energy frequency. And instead of thinking of past, present, and future, we simply think of them as things that we already experienced. Okay, things that are currently experiencing, and things that are yet to experience. And what are these? They are mental images. They're mental movies. And the quality and the content of that movie is dependent on our vibrational energy frequency. In the present, the message comes into our being is just a message. The quality and the content of that movie is determined by how we charge that content with positivity or negativity through the operating of our human nature, our personality, through our desire and imagination. Our desire for resources, appearances, identity, consumption, rest. Those desire and imagination by those fundamental things is going to charge and color the content of whatever message that we receive in the present. And so let's talk about how time works, okay? Time, like space, like material object, is dependent on vibrational energy frequency. If we, okay, let's do this. So there is the, there's another color, let's do this. The value of time, the sense of time. Let's start with the sense of time. And then there is a value of time. If our energy frequency, I'm gonna say over here, if our energy frequency is high and low, if our vibrational energy frequency is high, we will experience time to be fast and slow. Okay? Our sense of time, we go fast and we go slow. Let me demonstrate. When we are really happy, time seems to fly, right? What's that saying? Time flies when you're having fun. Time flies when you are having fun. Well, when you're having fun, your energy is high, and time seems to fly by really fast. Vibrational energy high, sense of time is really fast. On the other hand, when our vibrational energy frequency is low, our inner state is negative. Right? Remember that map? Low vibrational energy, negative inner state equates to depression, boredom, anxiety. Then time seems to go by really slow. You can have a lot of free time in the day, but if we're bored and we're sad and time seems to go by really slowly. Or if we're really anxious, we're waiting in line. We're really anxious, we're waiting in line, or we're sitting in traffic. Time seems to go by really, really slow. So our sense of time is dependent on our vibrational energy frequency. When our vibrational energy frequency is high, time seems to go by really fast. Time flies when you're having fun. When our vibrational energy frequency is low, time seems to slow down and drag on forever. However, when it comes to the value of time, that's something else. When our vibrational energy frequency is high, we're really happy, we're excited, we're enjoying ourselves. The value, even though time goes by really fast, the value is also very high. As if we had a lot more time to get work done. We are very productive when our vibrational energy frequency is very high. We get a lot of things done in a short amount of time, as if we had longer time. It is the value of time that we get out of being high energy. As if we had more time, but it's the same amount of time. In this Zoom, we are almost 2 days, okay? And it seemed to go by very fast because our vibrational energy frequency is very high. Seemed to go by very fast, but at the same time, we did a lot of learning, a lot of information. I can't even count how many papers I went through. Productivity is related to our sense of a value of time. High vibrational energy, motivated people get a lot of things done. But bored people, depressed people, even though you can give them all day, they get nothing done. And therefore, when our vibrational energy frequency is low, our value that we get out of that or give out of that is low. As if we had no time at all. In the physical universe, the object with the highest vibrational energy frequency is a particle of light. Vibrating at the frequency of light, it is also a wave. Because the particle of light is vibrating super, super, super fast, its value of time it gets is very high, as if it has a lot of time. So a light can travel from one place to another at a super high fast, very high value. It can cover a lot of value in terms of distance, okay, a lot of value in terms of spatial distance, 300,000 kilometer per second, and its time actually stops. The light particle, scientists have been able to measure the light particle does not experience the passage of time because its value that it get out of the time is very high. It travels very fast, but it also experiences no passage of time. Infinite. As if the value of time is infinite. Okay. For the clock on the light particle is infinite. It does not get old. A light particle does not get old because its vibrational energy is super high. The value that it gets out of that is that its clock is infinite, and therefore the value that it gets out of it is very high. Just ask people who live past 100 years old. People who live past 100 years old live, in general, you ask what is the secret? The secret is serenity, inner peace. They don't let positive and negativity fluctuate throughout their life. They don't get extremely depressed. They don't get extremely anxious. They're very magnanimous with people. They're very grateful and they honor everybody. And they are always at peace. And because they are always at peace, the vibrational energy frequency is very high, ultra high. And their sense of time, they enjoy a lot of things in life. They enjoy it as if time can go by very fast. In the blink of an eye, they could have children and great-grandchildren. But the value that they get out of that is as if time stretches out for them. Just ask people who live past 100. Just like the light particle, its clock slows down because it travels very fast. On the other hand, ask the people who's really anxious all the time. People who are really depressed. Okay, they get sick, they die young. So if we want to live forever, get into the space of inner peace. From a religious perspective, Adam and Eve were said to have lived 900 years old. Okay, Adam and Eve lived to be 900 years old. In the Garden of Eden, they were at peace, they were happy, and then they started knowing good and evil. When they started committing sin, that's when they start to suffer. Their time is take a toll on their body, and then they eventually die. They eventually die a natural human death. So there is a lesson for those who are seeking longevity. You want to live longer, get to inner peace, serenity. Let's draw another picture before we do lunch. Okay, so time.
Frank,
Yes.
I have some interesting subject regarding of the long time.
Okay.
I don't know, you're gonna call them genetically or it doesn't matter, but I'm coming from the Muslim family.
Okay.
And my grandpa from the dad's side, who was a very wise man and then very truly believe religion. And everybody, I didn't see him because I was born after 6 months. He passed away. But always, there are a lot of story. They just, tell me with the picture. And then he was a very wise man. He just encouraged everybody, the all neighbor, even family and neighborhood. And he lived 120 years.
Wow.
And he saw 5 kingdoms in my country. And serious. And then, in the interesting thing about him, that encouraged me to following with the spirituality, to get to know him more. That's why I find myself in there. He knew when he gonna die. That one is
Yeah.
exploring me. And then the time when it's coming, he just tell my grandma to call everybody, family and neighborhood, to come in because it's time to go. And then he just laid down, and then after cleaning his way, there is a cultural a way to die. And then he just lay down and just go away.
Yeah.
And then my mom was just only 20 years old, and she doesn't have any experience, and she was shocked because she never see people die like that. That was a very interesting thing. And my grandma from my dad's side, and she lived 100 years, and in the completely healthy body, just the old, just the
Yeah.
old, way. And then this is really interesting. I want to share with everybody. That's
Yeah,
all.
people who live a long time, they contribute a lot of positive value to other people. Okay, they're very wise. It is the energy of wisdom. We'll talk about energy of wisdom. And when you have enough energy of wisdom or wisdom merit, you can choose. You can choose the time. Yeah. And you can choose the state in which you leave this world. People who have no control over the inner being cannot choose when to live. They can die suddenly. They can die in pain. They can die in suffering. And then they have to go back and pay for that with purgatory. But people who have wisdom, who contributed a lot of value to other people in the way of helping them become positive, helping them experience wisdom as well, they get that blessing. They get that fortune to choose the time to die and choose when, if they want to come back or not. The Dalai Lama, who is the Buddhist monk, one Nobel Peace Prize monk, he can choose when he want to die, and he can choose whether or not to reincarnate as the next Dalai Lama. If he want to come back into his life, or he want to move on to that state of pure emptiness, or whatever it is. I don't know yet. Okay. But thank you for that question. That's a wonderful story. That's a great encouragement for us to strive to be a little bit more spiritual. Okay. So time, similarly, okay, once again, time is related to the vibrational energy frequency. Okay. Previously, right, before, it is about past, present, and future. And when we're born, we experience, let's start this. When we're born, we are generally relatively low in energy. We lie down like a baby. Okay. At some point, our energy frequency becomes a little bit more positive. We have more energy. We can get up, we crawl around, and we stand up. Okay, this looks like our toddler. And then we grow up some more, become a teenager. Okay. And then at some point we become a adult, maybe at 20 years old. Okay, a lot of energy at 20 years old. We're gonna do a lot of things, get a lot of things accomplished. And then at some point, let's say past midlife or something, we bend down a little bit. Okay, we bend down a little bit, just a little bit. Okay. And then at some point we get really, really old, we start to bend down a whole lot. Not only that, we have to have an extra, leg, a cane. Okay. And finally, we lie down for the last time. This is our vibrational energy frequency. And this is a curve of our energy. The first part of our lives is a period of growth. The later part is decline. Okay? All of us seem to experience this growth and decline. But now that we understand vibrational energy frequency, vibrational energy frequency, we can draw a different curve. We begin with growth, we grow up, and we get to our peak, let's say 20 years old. And if we can maintain our high energy frequency, maintain our high vibrational energy frequency, then we can draw a different curve. We call that longevity. So growth and longevity instead of growth and decline. Does the WIT organization not be able to train 60, 70-year-old senior citizen with arthritis to cure their own arthritis and then run a marathon at 70s? Right? Do people who study the philosophy on health and happiness and their inner being come back and report in the 1,000 people Zoom that they get younger with age? You look at the masters and the teachers on a Zoom and they get younger with age. The skin look better, they have more energy. Master Guemin some years ago began as a person who was ready to die. She was so sick, she was so poor in health, she had no relationship, her energy state was very low. She even gives herself 40 years. She said, I'm gonna die at 40. She made that declaration. She planned to die at 40. By then she was like in her 20 or 30, late 20, early 30, something like that. She said, I'm gonna die at 40. But she had the fortune of encountering this knowledge, this philosophy. She understood vibrational energy frequency. She understand giving gifts, 7 great gifts of life. She understand the 7 holistic wealth and health. And now Master Guemin had just gotten married. And yeah, she married a guy younger than her. And she looks younger than she was some years ago. From a scientific perspective, we all use the satellite and we all use cell phone, right? The cell phone, the GPS, okay, the GPS that we use to map our Google map and find direction. It depends on the signal from Earth and the satellite that's spinning around on Earth. Okay, there's a satellite, there are thousands of satellites spinning around the Earth. Those satellites is spinning at a speed of tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. Many times faster than we are on Earth. There's a problem with that. In order for the relay station down here on Earth, in order for our phone to communicate with the satellite, the time has to sync. Right? 1 o'clock here has to be 1 o'clock up there. But because those satellites is spinning so fast around the Earth at tens of thousands of kilometers per second, after a short while, the time will actually be different. Their clock slows down. Did you know that? The clock on the satellite spinning around the Earth actually slows down. And so after a day or something, it'll be mismatched from our own clock. Imagine letting that situation go for multiple days, many months, and then the clock on the satellite will be totally completely than the one on Earth. And our measurement of speed and the entire social system is going to be out of whack. Important things like internet stock transaction. Oh, that depends on time. When is it bought? When is it purchased? When do you close the stock market? When do you open? But the clock on the satellite is always slower than the clock down here on Earth because it is spinning at a speed that is ridiculously faster than where we're at. Okay, we're moving around, we're pretty slow. So from a scientific perspective, time slows down when you're going really fast. If we understand that, then we can raise our vibrational energy frequency. Our time will slow down, even though we can experience it to be pretty fast, but we get a lot of value out of it in terms of longevity. Same thing with sleep. A lot of us feel like we don't have enough time to sleep. Science says you have to sleep at least 7 or 8 hours a day. But that's just people who do not understand vibrational energy frequency just yet. If you understand vibrational energy frequency, then your sleep time can be raised in terms of value if we raise our vibrational energy frequency. If we lie ourselves down to sleep or simply to rest, forget sleep, just rest, and we put ourselves in a state of high balance, high vibrational energy, serenity, stop thinking, okay? It is the mind and the emotion that will drag us down and slow us down. When we reach a state of serenity and balance, our vibrational energy is very high. Our experience of time may be very fast, as if I have no time to sleep, but the quality and the value of that rest and sleep time will be very high. So 5 minutes of sleep or 5 minutes of rest equates to many hours. People who get older and they get wiser and they get more peace, they sleep less and they still feel well. But people who are anxious, depressed, worried, never seem to have enough time to sleep, even though they can get 10, 12 hours of sleep and they still feel very tired. So understanding vibrational energy frequency, understanding that the value of time goes up when our vibrational energy frequency goes up, also enable us to make the best use of whatever little time that we have to rest. We can maximize our rest time by putting ourselves in a state of deep relaxation, deep serenity, no fear, no anxiety, okay? And that will maximize our rest. And when we are in a vibrational energy frequency that is high and ultra balanced, physiologically speaking, our cells in our body, okay, they will achieve a state of balance. Our cells is positive and negative. It has electromagnetic energy, especially around the cell membrane when the exchange of oxygens and nutrients and the excretion of toxic waste and then the absorption of nutrients. When the cell membrane is balanced, the exchange between positive and negative chemicals and good nutrients and toxic waste becomes maximized. We essentially heal faster. We get healthier faster when we are at a vibrational energy frequency that is high and ultra high, positive and balanced. Okay. Okay. Let's take lunch. Okay. What time do you guys want? An hour? Yeah. Okay. Anybody, do you want to say anything before we go to lunch? Impression, realization, question, mental activation time.
Thank you, Frank. Yes, we like to share a bit.
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Talking about time, we're going to go to have lunch and put ourselves down just to rest, and we'll manifest to have that high vibration of energy frequency, so we have good rest.
There you go.
I am just so in awe, and I bow to your knowledge. Goodness, how do you learn it from Vietnamese and translated all of this in English?
Well, I have a disadvantage that I turn to an advantage. I don't have a lot of time. Okay, so whereas some other student can spend 10, 8, 16 hours a day sitting in Zoom and listening to Master Tuan and other student classes after classes after class, I only have a few hours a week.
Wow.
I still work, okay? I still work for wage, 10 hours a day, and I have very little time. But I do, from what little I know, I go pretty deep. I think about it, I tie it together. And the advantage of knowing little is that you can make very good connection of what little you know. If you have a ton of stuff and it gets all cluttered, then it can get a little confusing. Right? So what started as a disadvantage, not having in as much time as other people, I'm able to make the best use of it. Okay, I think about what little I know, and then sharing is important. Mental activation, because every time I share, I understand it more. Okay, some of the stuff that I don't even think about, it just kind of come up. Your total causal knowledge. Okay, it is causality. Your total causal knowledge opens up as you share it with other people. And then, not only the wit, but part of my total causal knowledge is that I have taken other courses in the past, and it came back. It come back, and they become useful as I use them to tie everything in. I was born and raised Catholic, but for some strange reason, in the 6th grade, my 6th grade teacher, imagine elementary school, 6th grade teacher came, "Hey, Frank, come here." She gave me a book. It is a book written by Hermann Hesse entitled Siddhartha. It is a fictional account of the Buddha. I still cannot understand why my 6th grade teacher gave me a book about the life of the Buddha when I was in 6th grade. I don't know if she gave any other kid any other book. When I was in 10th grade, I came back and visited, and she didn't even remember me. But there must be some strange calling. The Holy Spirit is at work, Allah is at work, or some total causal affinity that at that moment in time, my teacher gave me a book on the life of the Buddha. And that set me on a journey for, discovering other religions. So I understand Buddhism.
Wow.
And I continue to think. In my 11th grade English class, I am grateful for my 11th grade teacher for opening my mind and allowing me to freely think. Part of the English class is that he will come up into class and he will write one word on the board, like justice. And freely write whatever you want, whatever you think about justice.
Wow.
And it gave me the freedom to write whatever. It activated mental activation, and it opens up my total causal knowledge. And so I've been thinking and thinking, use my mind a lot. And there are some negativity to it when we don't take control of it. It goes out of whack and it can go negative, and I can experience depression as a result of that. But now with the knowledge, we learn to let go of the negative, use the positive when it's available. I also study human and energy, universal energy, human and universal energy meditation. During the meditation, we energize our brain. We do mental activation. We energize our brain. We get into a state of serenity, and sometimes knowledge just comes tying together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you talk a lot about Christian.
Christianity.
Yeah.
I thought you were Christian, belong to Christian.
I was Catholic, born and raised Catholic, which is a branch of Christianity. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Catholicism, Christianity, and we all begin with as followers of Christ. And then during the Dark Ages, when the Catholic Church became very corrupt, Brother Martin Luther, a Christian, a Catholic monk, at that time, split up and protested the corruption in the Catholic Church, and thereby starting the Protestant movement.
Wow.
And Protestants call themselves true Christian, okay, whereas they criticize Catholic for not being true Christian. It's just human nature at work to criticize each other. But I look for the truth. I look for the commonality. I believe that, do you know the story of the Tower of Babel? Ever heard of the story of the Tower of Babel? Where human beings speak different language, right? In the Bible, there's a story that says that human beings, because of our pride and our vanity, we want to reach the level of God. So human beings got together and they decided to build a tower to climb up and reach heaven on their own. But in their pride and their arrogance, the allegory said that God punished them by causing people to speak different language. So a guy asked, well, I need a hammer, and somebody else will bring him a nail. I need a rope to tie something, and somebody would bring him, a pail of water. So because the people speak it different languages, they cannot communicate, therefore they can never finish the Tower of Babel in order to reach God. It is an allegory on human pride and arrogance that prevent us from understanding each other and therefore never reaching a state of peace. The kingdom of God is possible, but only if we learn to speak the same language of another person through the principle of the circle of knowledge. I believe that before the Tower of Babel, humans used to speak one language of love, language of peace. We still speak those languages today on some limited level. But the moment our human nature comes in, my religion is better than yours, my perspective is better than yours, and we never seek the truth, and so we cannot communicate. We cannot build the kingdom of God because of the human nature. But Jesus said, the kingdom is at hand. It's here. It's not some faraway place. You just have to step into it. You step into it through the truth within us. The recognition that we have this already always listening, already always hearing, and we connect with another person through universal principles and natural laws. Law of causality, law of the principle of the circle of knowledge. We can connect with another person. Then in that moment, that plus receiving and welcoming whatever causal outcome that we experience, negative or positive, then in that moment, we step into the state of serenity, which is the kingdom of God.
I too was born into a Christian home, and there's a couple of things that I don't know if you remember the saying, narrow is a road to salvation,
Yeah.
and broad is a road to damnation, or whatever that was.
Yeah.
I kind of relate that to some of this too. Like the more open-minded people are on the narrow road,
Yeah.
and on the broad road, there's a lot more closed-minded people.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to judge them as close-minded. They
No.
have not had the fullness and completeness of awareness and perception about
Mhm.
the road.
Yes.
Yeah, the narrow path. The narrow path comes from an analogy of the gate at the Jerusalem. Okay, when people come in and then during at night or something like that, they have to go through security. So it's a difficult process to go through security at night. They have to leave the camels and the luggage and outside of Jerusalem. They have to go through the little door. During the day, they open the big gate and everybody can go through. That's
Mhm.
the analogy of the narrow door. But the narrow
Mhm.
door, it's like the truth within us. We don't see it. It's there, but we look
Mhm.
outside. We look for material. We look for things that does not guarantee us peace, and so we miss it. We miss the little door. But the door to the kingdom of God is deep in here, and it is the very simple truth. It's so simple that the more you think about it, the more we lose it. And you can only get it with wisdom energy, sharing it with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see you guys in an hour. Okay. Since
Okay.
now we're gonna call it 12 o'clock. Let's say 1 o'clock. Let's give it a good 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. See you in a bit.
Thank you, Frank.
I will turn off the recording and restart it again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll see you. Good clock.
Yeah.